There's a fascinating, and let's be honest, slightly terrifying world living inside every single one of us. Today, we're going to take a tour of that world, specifically the microbial diseases of the digestive system, to meet the tiny invaders that can cause some major problems.
See, our gastrointestinal tract is way more than just a food processor. It is a bustling, complex ecosystem. I'm talking trillions of microbes living in there, and most of them are actually good guys, or at least harmless. But it's a very delicate balance. When the wrong guests show up to the party, things can go sideways fast.
So, before we meet the villains of our story, let's just set the stage. What does the normal, healthy state of your gut actually look like?
Here's the most important thing to get your head around. Your digestive system is already supposed to be teeming with bacteria, and that is a good thing. This normal microbiota helps you digest food, it creates vitamins, it's absolutely crucial.
And to give you an idea of just how crowded it is in there, get this. There are over 1 million bacteria in a single milliliter of your saliva. And that's just the start. Yeah, the stomach acid thins the crowd a bit, but by the time you get to the large intestine, it is absolutely packed.
All right, let's get into our first category of culprits, bacteria. These are the troublemakers behind a lot of the illnesses we just kind of lump together as food poisoning. But, as you're about to see, how they make us sick can be really different.
Have you ever wondered about that? Why one bad meal makes you feel awful in just a couple of hours, but another one, well, it might take a day or two before you even know something's wrong? The answer is all about two very different methods of attack.
And this right here is the key difference. On one hand, you've got intoxication. This is when you get sick super fast because you ate a toxin, a poison, that the bacteria already made in the food. Think of that potato salad that sat out in the sun too long. On the other hand, you have an infection. This is slower because you're eating the live bacteria themselves, and they need time to set up camp and multiply inside your gut before they start causing problems. It's a full-on invasion.
And this table breaks down some of the usual suspects. You can see the fast-acting intoxication from Staph aureus. That's your classic food left out too long scenario. Then you've got the infections, like salmonellosis from undercooked chicken or eggs, cholera from contaminated water, and of course the infamous traveler's diarrhea, which is often caused by certain nasty strains of E. coli.
Okay, next up, viruses. Now, unlike bacteria, which often just kind of colonize your intestines, viruses are a whole different beast. They are stealthy, they're cellular hijackers. They invade your own body's cells, often with very specific targets in mind. Hepatitis is the perfect example. Viruses like hepatitis B don't just cause general tummy trouble. Nope. They travel through your body and launch a targeted assault on one specific organ, your liver, causing some serious inflammation.
And it's super important to know that not all hepatitis viruses are the same. They all attack the liver, sure, but how they spread and the long-term danger they pose are totally different. Hepatitis A is usually from contaminated food or water, but Hep B and C, they're transmitted through body fluids and can become chronic, lifelong problems. Of course, we can't talk about digestive viruses without mentioning these two, norovirus and rotavirus. These things are incredibly common and spread like wildfire. They are the true culprits behind what everybody calls the stomach flu, which, by the way, has absolutely nothing to do with the actual flu. Okay, hang on, because now we're doing a rapid-fire round of the other invaders that can set up shop in our digestive system. This is a really diverse group. We're talking fungi, single-celled protozoa, and yes, even worms.
First, let's talk fungi. And this might sound familiar because a lot like with some bacteria, the danger here often comes from toxins. Certain molds produce these nasty things called mycotoxins that can contaminate food. So again, it's not an infection, it's a poisoning, and one that can seriously damage your liver and nervous system.
Next up, protozoa. Think of these as tiny, single-celled survivors. The infamous Giardia is a perfect example. You often ingest them as these tough little protective cysts from contaminated water. Then, once they're inside you, they kind of hatch and multiply, leading to a miserable diarrheal illness that can drag on for weeks.
And finally, we get to the largest of our invaders. And yeah, this one's a little creepy. Helminths, or parasitic worms. These are parasites you can actually see, and they can take up residence right in our intestines, especially in places with poor sanitation.
So after that lovely tour of all the potential threats, bacteria, viruses, worms, you name it, you're probably wondering, how on earth do I protect myself from all this microbial mayhem? Well, the good news is we have some really powerful defenses.
And here's the best part. A lot of these diseases are completely preventable. It often starts right in your own kitchen, with 4 dead simple rules of food safety. Clean, separate, cook, and chill. Just doing these 4 things dramatically cuts your risk of getting a foodborne illness.
But of course, it's not all on us as individuals. This is where the bigger picture comes in. Public health infrastructure is absolutely vital. Things like clean water supplies and proper sewage treatment, that's what breaks the cycle for diseases like cholera and hepatitis A for an entire community.
So from bacterial toxins to viral hijackers, we've seen the threats, but we've also seen the defenses. Protecting that complex, vital world inside of you, well, it often just comes down to simple, smart choices, both in our own kitchens and in our communities. And the first step is knowing exactly what you're up against.